All right, all right, all right. I think we're good to go ahead and start here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. I'm not a professor, but you can call me Nap. And welcome on in. Hope everybody's having a great week so far. We're halfway through now with Wednesday. And yeah. And hello, Moth. Hello, welcome on in. Good to see you. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. But yeah. So, let's see. I'm trying to think. So, Sunday. Sunday was a very fun stream. I actually really enjoyed it. If you missed it, Sunday we basically spent the entire stream talking about the my trip to the Philadelphia Museum of Art, uh, which was a honestly a great museum. Very, if you want just a quick recap of my thoughts, it's an incredible It's a really well done art museum. They have incredible like quality of art on display. A lot of famous pieces that I didn't even realize were there. Um, and their use of period rooms and like architectural elements built into the like galleries and to the structure and everything incredible, absolutely incredible. I think it's just so well done, so well done. um but let's see what else has happened since then. Well, there's one thing that happened, but I want to wait a second to get into that. um Uh, but oh yeah, on Sunday I also thought stupidly that I thought like, oh yeah, we'll probably not get through that presentation and everything very quickly, and then afterwards we'll talk we'll finish up Roottrees are dead because we'll totally have time for that. And then it was like over 3 hours later, and it's like, oh nope, that's not happening because it took me yeah about like 3 hours to just get through that presentation on Sunday, which those things always go longer than I think they are supposed to be. But hey, on Sunday though, prepare for next Sunday, prepare for another presentation. And I'm actually very excited for it because next Sunday's presentation is going to be basically a compilation of some of my favorite things that we've uncovered during my research streams. Because we've had a lot of people join in like the past like, few months and haven't seen a lot of the like research streams that we did like last year and just some of the crazy and cool things that we found. Um just really crazy and incredible stuff. So I'm very excited to go through all of that and just share with you some of my favorite things. Um and there might be a stream this weekend, like on Saturday or Friday. I'm not 100% sure. It really just kind of depends on some other like I need to make that first of all I need to make that presentation, which is the main thing. But also I need to I'm working on a new short that I'm hoping to have done by the end of this week. Because I mentioned this before. I started working on that short on like 2 weeks ago, I think, and or yeah, right before July 4th. And it was unfortunately I started working on it like the weekend that my AC broke and it was like over 100 degrees. Um and that just killed my motivation to finish it. But now I'm doing it. Now I'm getting it done and it's gonna get finished. Um so that's the goal is to have that done by the end of this week. Um and kind of continue with that. Also, I think because it's about 2 weeks away, I think I'll start announcing it on this, like starting with this stream, and I'll talk about it every stream going forward. But I do want to announce that I am going to be gone starting July 29th. July 29th will be uh our last stream before my break. And then the next stream won't be until August 12th. I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna be out of town. So during that week, so that next week and a half, so that is that is why I'm not gonna be here. So look, so these next few streams, we only have like, yeah, after this stream, we only have like 4 streams left. Um, we only have 4 streams left, so, and I have some ideas. I'm thinking about possibly playing that game, that is, uh, it's the like library game, that, what was it, like Arcane Library? The game where it's like you have to pick up all of the pieces of, like all the books that are laid on the ground and everything. That's that's a game I'm thinking about playing possibly uh before we go on the trip. Um or before I'm, yeah, on my break. But yeah, let me see. Okay, and now let's one other thing I do want to mention, something that happened. I shared this a little bit in some of the discords that I'm in, but and on Twitter. Um and oh god, this is so embarrassing. So I was doing some cooking. Hold on, let me make myself smaller here, so because I have a photo. I was doing some cooking on Monday, and it didn't exactly go as planned because, unfortunately, as I was cooking some rice with roasted Brussels sprouts, which is like one of my favorite things. It's one of those things that's like it's healthy and it just tastes good because roasted Brussels sprouts are good, are the only good way to eat Brussels sprouts, honestly. Um, but I have an Instapot that I use as like my rice cooker, and I took out the like, metal like bowl part so I could scoop the rice out onto my plate. And unfortunately, as I was holding it, this happened. This happened. Just dropped it perfectly on the center of the plate, and it just shattered into pieces. I was so upset because I actually really like these plates. They were a gift. They were a housewarming gift for when I moved into this apartment that I'm in. And they're nice, they're good quality plates. And it was just a unfortunate accident of my hand slipping and dropping it. I didn't even drop it from that high. At least it didn't feel that. I think it just hit it like perfectly. Like it had enough weight in it with the rice and just like hit it perfectly. Um, and God, I was so upset. I was so upset. But that's not where it ends though, because I had to obviously toss. I couldn't. This plate wasn't salvageable. I just tossed it because it was like not. It just didn't work out. I have cried over many a broken bowl. Yeah, no, it's like, and I broke one of my glasses too that I really liked a few months ago. That like, and I broke it in a very stupid way too. I broke it because I was putting it on the top rack of the dishwasher, and I was trying to put it in between these like, like 2 prongs that were like stick, the like little prongs that they have in dishwasher drawers to like hold things up. I tried to like put the drink like in between these two, but it was too tight, and it just like as I put pressure down to like push it down over those 2 prongs, it just shattered. I was again just like stupid, like just a really stupid thing. Hey, pirate, good to see you. Is your archivist rage coming out? God, no. This is the opposite of archivist rage. If anything, I try to be careful. I try to be careful with all this kind of stuff. But this isn't where it ends, though. This isn't where it ends at all. Unfortunately, um, unfortunately, so this was Monday night when this happened. This was Monday night. And then last night, I had some baked potatoes. I had two baked potatoes in the oven that I was cooking. Um, because my microwave, and I know some people say like, oh, you can just microwave baked potatoes, but like the microwave that I have doesn't do a good job at it, so I just put them in the oven, even though it takes longer. And also, I think it just tastes better when you do it in the oven. Well, I got one of my potatoes out, um, and the way I grabbed it is with like a pot holder, like to like wrap around the potato and like grab it with my hand. So I'm not actually like obviously grabbing the hot potato. And as I was lifting it up, I don't know how this happened, but somehow my like thumb touched or like like somehow touched the potato and it burned, like it was really really hot and it like burned. And it was just like a knee jerk reaction of just like letting go, and it dropped the potato on the floor and it like splattered. It broke open. So for like 2 days in a row, I had kitchen nightmares. Not the Gordon Ramsay kind, just like two very uh it was just so I felt like, in like Home Alone, when like Macaulay Culkin is like carrying the like grocery bags down the street and then the groceries like fall through the bags and he just like stares into the camera, you know? Like that's how I felt. That is how I felt. I was so upset that now I went from having two potatoes to one potato. And those were my only potatoes that I had. But it actually kind of worked out because it turns out I didn't realize before I started cooking the potatoes that I only had enough shredded cheese to put on one potato. Ugh. They don't taste the same. They're way better in the oven. Yes, exactly. Yeah, no. The best way to microwave is for a few minutes and then put in the oven to finish it as it speeds up the cooking time in the oven. Okay, that's an interesting way to do it. It's more like my microwave, and I haven't tried in like the year. It's probably been like over a year since I tried it. But I had it where like I tried to do a potato in my microwave and like I just got like an error on my microwave, and so I didn't try it again. So maybe I'll try it again now and like see if it'll work. Who knows? Not a chef nap. Yeah. In that case it'd be knack. I'd be knack, not nap. Not a chef, knack. Which still kind of works. But yeah. So this is how my week has been so far. And so because of that, I ate out tonight. I picked up something on the way home. I mean, I do that anyway, most stream nights, just for like, time and like because I stream not too long after I get home. And I have to eat something before I stream because otherwise I wouldn't eat till like 10 o'clock at night and like I'm already like hungry when I get home from work. So, because I never have like that big of a lunch. But yeah, so thankfully no disasters tonight. Thankfully. No disasters tonight. Everything worked out. That's a derogatory term for a member of the Irish traveling community used in Ireland. Really? Dang. Well, okay. Well, then I won't use that then. Yeah, I definitely won't use that then. If that's the case, that's why I went with nap. Nap is very it's just a good, just easy, nice word. It does get to a point sometimes where like I'm reading something or someone will just like say the word nap, meaning like sleeping, and I will like for like a half second like start to like kind of like turn or like be like what and like oh yeah no they're not talking about me. Uh, all right. I think with that though, before we get into root trees are dead, we are going to go ahead and do some anthropium because I don't think root trees are dead is going to take that long tonight. I'm hoping, but of course now that I just said that, it's going to take a long time. I jinxed myself. All right, so let's go ahead and transition on over here. All right, so let's see what we got in Anthropium today. Also, what's crazy is that Anthropium, and I looked it up, it has been featured in the New York Times and Scientific American, and it's crazy just to like I learned like I read the article in Scientific American about this game, and it was really cool to kind of learn about the process for it and like you know, how it works. Ooh, whoa. Okay. Here we go. First one. Okay. This is definitely Latin American. That's so cool looking though. But the thing is though, they've had these types of like glasses or these like vessels in Latin America for like thousands of years. Yeah, it's basically yeah, it's some sort of like drinking vessel basically. It's a type of like ceremonial like ceramic drinking vessel. Uh God, okay. I know there are ones like these in Peru, but there were also other ones in like Mexico. I wonder if it is part of the set from the last one we've seen on this. I think the one we saw before, I think it was orange, if I remember correctly. I think that one was orange. Was it Bolivia? I don't remember. I know we've had one like this that was from Mexico, but they're also from Peru as well. So it really could be either one. I might say Peru. And it looks, I mean, just how like smooth it looks and everything. I'm gonna say this is a little later. I'm gonna say this is more like this era. Some would guess. Oh, look at that. It was Peru. Oh, wow. It's way older than I thought, though. Second and fifth century. Wow. It looks quite worn on one side. Yeah, like right here specifically. But unfortunately, the other photos are black and white, and it's a little hard to notice the wear. It's in incredible good condition for being that old. The stirrup pot spout vessel, so named for similarity of the spout. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the riding saddle ones. Yes, yes, yes. I do remember reading something like this. The syrup pot, yeah, was used on ceramic vessels in northern Peru for about 2,500 years. So see, yeah, like that's why it's so hard sometimes to figure out the time period is because they've had these types of vessels for like 2,500 years. It's like when you get something that's like ancient Egyptian, it's like it could be from like 2,500 BC or it could be from 100 BC. All right. Oh, also, kind of speaking of which, China. I Oh, this is a set. I mean, look, she's. You see what they're doing? They're telling us how big the fish was. The fish was that big. That's a pretty decent sized fish. All right, so I'm pretty sure this is. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't really know enough about like Asian instruments to really like. I mean, it looks like China, but in case it's not China, I'm gonna put it like here, so that way it's close to like Korea and Japan if it's one of those. But I'm pretty sure it's and they're earthenware, so they're not like ceramic. They're earthenware, so that makes me think they're older. So I think they might be more like around like here. Or bragging for the emperor. Oh yeah, no, no, I swear it was this. Yeah, it was this big. All right, let's go for it. Oh, okay, a little late, but hey, it was China. I was right that it was China. But 7th century. Stumbles featuring female musicians often served as a musical bridge between the elite and popular culture. A small ensemble is shown, clapping and playing the pipa tongbo, small copper cymbals, and kong konghao, harp. The pipa is played in its original position, like an Arabic lute. Its silk strings are plucked with a triangular plectrum. Huh. Okay. So we got the country right perfectly, but the guess was a little bit wrong. I thought because it was earthenware that it was going to be a little bit older. Whoa, what is that is this like a broken horse statue? What is this? Nice mount though. Really cool mount that they made for the photo. That's actually really cool that they did that to perfectly fit the because otherwise, yeah, it would have been really really hard to get that to work. Is it an it could be an anvil. But it's this line right here. It's this line right here, this line right here. If it was an anvil, I feel like these pieces right here wouldn't like I don't know. I feel like that wouldn't work. That's a cryptid. It kind of does. It looks like a haunted like if like somebody like 2000 years from now dug up a Muppet. That's what it kind of looks like. If like Muppets like if they made like metal statues of Muppets, this is what they would look like if they were because it's like earthenware. Oh, it's not even metal. It looks like metal. Oxide. Oh, it's the pigment that makes it look like that. So it's earthenware. So it's ceramic. Okay, so it's not metal. So it can't be an anvil. It's ceramic. So that's ceramic. Then, God, that could be from anywhere. But it looks old, whatever it is. And because I'm pretty sure it's a horse, it has to be somewhere that had like horses a long time ago. So it can't be the Americas. It's not going to be like sub Saharan African. It could be Middle East. It could be Middle East. It could maybe be Europe. It could be ancient Greek, maybe. Making a big bird statue for future archaeologists to find. Yes, that's going to be, they're going to think that that's like a god, like some sort of like bird god. um, I'm going to say this is from like the Middle East because it looks really old. And I'm going to say it's like, I'm going to say like 1000 BC. Submit guess. Oh man, it's Co- Coptic. 4th and 7th century earthenware. From Byzantine. Okay, so it's Byzantine, roughly. But it doesn't say what it is. Wow, it looked way older. I think just having all the dirt still on it and everything, and like it hasn't been like cleaned, makes it look a lot older than it actually is. I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's a horse or some sort of animal. Based on like the looks like you got like nostrils here. And this looks like maybe like a what is it called? Like a girdle? Is that what it's called? Oh, it does say camel statue. Thank you. Wow, I can't read. I was so busy, like I went straight to the description that I didn't look at this part. I looked at Coptic and didn't read any further. Thankfully, you guys are here to point out that I need to read sometimes. Head of camel. Okay, that makes sense. It really does look like a camel. Okay. Okay. Hmm. Oh, this can be a lot of places. Pottery with like basic geometric designs is like universally everywhere. It's this one's in really good shape too. This could be Native American. This could be like Mayan or like other like. Actually, you know what? No, I think it's Peruvian again. I think it might be Peru again. I think it's Peru again. Because these remind me of like terraces, which were way more, common in like Peru and stuff like that. So we'll say that, and we'll say around like here. So I'm gonna guess. Look at that. Peru. Oh, I'm a genius. Look at that. Perfect location. Painted single spout bottle. Yeah, so it's likely Incan then. Look at that perfect score. It does also look like step temples too. That is true. Because the Incans didn't really have step temples, but again, they did have terraces. Step temples were more like Mayan and Aztec. Whoa, look at this guy. Okay, this is definitely African. It looks very modern though. Like how the wood looks and everything. Yeah, you have the scarring and everything. Okay, it's definitely African. Sub-Saharan African. It really does look modern. Hold on, what does it say does it say what the eyes are? Wood, glass, metal, kaolin. When in doubt, Benin? I'm gonna say that, yeah, this is from like the last like 250 years. So I'm gonna guess. Ah, okay. Time period was perfect. Yeah, 1825 to 1897. Congo peoples. Kakongo group. Oh, okay. Hmm. Okay. Okay. I think this is Japan. Yes, I think this is Japan. Whoops, dang it, I didn't mean to click like that. Some of this, I mean, I don't know, I can't read like perfect kanji really, but I do recognize like some of these symbols look more like kanji than say like Mandarin. Also, the style, it definitely looks like later. Cherry blossom. Yes, that is true. There are well, are cherry blossoms strictly Japanese? Do they have cherry? I think they might have cherry blossoms in other Asian countries. And this looks way more abstract. It's definitely later because it's way more like kind of like abstract and less detailed compared to like other ones. This is definitely like this time period, and I'm gonna say yeah, I'm gonna say it's Japan. And again, I'm gonna put it like here, so that way if it's actually Korean, I don't think it's Korean because that doesn't look like Korean. But if it actually is China, it's actually like closer. Dang it! It was China. Okay, so it turns out China does have cherry blossom. Oh, it was from 1754. Whoa, that's actually way earlier than I thought. I was thinking like 1800s, like late 1800s or mid to late 1800s. Album of 12 paintings, ink on color, Qing Dynasty, China. Wow. Okay, again, close. Not perfect though. Is it when Japan invaded China? Do you mean like during World War II? Because I don't know of Japan invading China before that. Well, except for the one with Russia, the Russian War. But that was also, I think, like in the 1800s. No, I think Japan at this time Japan was still closed off. I think Japan at this time was still closed off for from the rest of the world, except for like a few Dutch traders. They had like some trading, but like that's very limited contact. Yeah, they were still isolation. Yes, exactly. Whoa. Okay, this is from Polynesia. Wait, this reminds me. Okay, if anybody here has watched SpongeBob, this reminds me of like the what is it? Something flounder, a flounder guy who like keeps saying he's gonna beat up SpongeBob. He's gonna kick his butt. Because when you see him, he like starts off like this, and then he turns sideways, and he looks like that. That's what this reminds me of. Oop, hold on. You can definitely tell this was meant to like hang up like against a wall. Okay, so this could be from like a specific island. It could be from Papua like New Guinea, like this area. It can be from a random island in in Polynesia or Oceania. Um, okay, that's Fiji. I don't think this is Fiji. I think this is Papua New Guinea. I think this is Papua New Guinea, and I'm gonna guess it's probably around like here. Because that's where most of the stuff in the Met is like from, is from like this time period. So I guess. Look at that. Boom. The the Alum block or Yemen people figure, 19th century. Okay, yeah, so we got it. Did we get that one perfectly? We did. Nice. Kept with the men's ceremony. Okay, yeah. Kept in the within the men's ceremonial house, the distinctive hook figure of the Yemen people of Korwari River region formerly played a central role in hunting and warfare. Depicting powerful ancestral spirits, the figures served as vessels into which the spirits were called before a hunt or raid and presented with offerings. The Yipwon then went forth during the night to slay the souls of the game or human enemies, enabling the men to easily kill the actual animals or enemies the following day. If Yipwon was successful, the men showed their gratitude by smearing it with the victim's blood or offering it a portion of the game. If it failed, the figure was neglected or discarded. Yip-1 images portray both external and internal features of the spirits. Although highly stylized, the head and single leg appear relatively naturalistic in comparison with the central section of the body, which typically consists of a series of opposed concentric hooks depicting the ribs rotated 90 degrees from their normal orientation and surrounding a central element representing the heart. Okay, so that's what that represents. This little like chainsaw thing in the middle. Hey, Aeon, hello. Welcome on in. Thank you so much for the lurk. Enjoy your lurk while you're here. We're doing pretty good this round, though. We're only in round 7, and we already got 57,000 points. Okay. This is something that's on display. That's the reverse side of it. It definitely looks like it's a very geometric design. It's made out of, what is it? Sandstone. Okay, sandstone is mostly found in kind of like Egypt, like this area. It definitely has like a, or it could be Spain too, like Moorish Spain from that era. Actually, you know what? I think that might be what it is. I think it's Moorish, like Spain. So like from like here in like what, like this era, I think, around here. Some guess. Oh no, it's actually Indian. Whoops, shows how much I wow, it actually looked huh. I thought it looked like kind of like an Islamic kind of like, geometric design. I was off both by both and the time period too. Yeah, I didn't do good on that one. I jinxed myself. Whoa. Okay. Ooh, this is a nice photo. Oh, this is a great photo. Look at this. The quality is very nice. They have it sitting up like this. Good, like, not too many shadows or reflections. Okay. Got a little bit of reflection here, but that's fine. Um, wait, hold on. Are there any markings on the back? Ah, dang it. Now, here's the thing. This could be made. Actually, no, it doesn't look like porcelain. No, I think this actually is European. I think this is definitely European, but where in Europe would it be from? The colors make me think like Netherlands, but the ship itself and everything make me think like Portugal or Spain. I'm gonna say stone paste. I'm gonna say it's like around like here, like this time frame. Yeah. All right. I guess. Oh, oh, it's Ottoman. It's Ottoman. Okay, I could definitely see that. Okay, it's Islamic. That's okay. Yeah, and look, it says right here specifically, highly unusual iconography for Islamic ceramics. So that's why I thought it was maybe European. All right, this is the last one. Whoa, what is that? Ooh, it's a little container. Is it glass? Is that a glass container? Wow, it is. It looks like sea glass. It kind of does, yeah, but I don't think sea glass like is that big or fits that because okay, wait, hold on. It says glass, greenish color, mold blown, wheel cut decoration, metal mount. Okay, so it's mold. Okay, so it's not natural glass. It is it's from a mold. This could be from anywhere. I mean, Venice is known for like around Venice is known for glass, but this could literally be from like anywhere. Like could be mother of pearl on the top that's worn away. Oh, like in these little like indent. Well, it says here these are metal clad. These are oxidized, like they were probably like copper or bronze, and they're oxidizing. But like I could totally see like yeah, maybe like in these little like bits right here. This could be from anywhere. I'm just gonna say Italy, just to see. I'm gonna say from around like this time period because glass blowing I think didn't really become super popular until then. Oh, it was okay. So Egypt, like Arabic Egypt. Oh, wait, hold on. What is this? This remarkable object is the only glass blocks from medieval Egypt in the Met collection. Dating to the Fatimid period, it is of unusual size, too small to be used for pens. It may instead have stored medicine, aromatic substances, or small valuables. The box combines hot and cold working techniques. The form was blown in a mold, while the decorative motifs were carved after the glass had cooled. Wow, it was donated in 2020. It's actually pretty recent. Because on one of the pics there is iridescent on the surface. Is there? Wait. Oh, right here. Oh, yeah. I could actually. I see what you're talking about. That could maybe be something like that. Yeah. Or I don't know if that's something. It could be that, or if it's something weird with the glass. I don't know. I'm not a glass expert, so I don't. I don't know. I could see it storing incense or spice because you want to show it off, but keep it safe. That is true. Yeah, because why else would you want it to be a container be made out of glass like this? To like you want to show what's inside of it. So yeah, it would make sense that you would want to show it off. Yeah, exactly, pirate. Yeah, show it off and not let people touch it. That's a really good point. All right, final score. Where are we at? Hey, look at that. Top 6%. Let's go. Look at that. We did really good today. Top 6%. Yeah, this one really messed me up. And the fly, yeah, the the camel, yeah, the camel too. The camel for the time period, yeah, the camel kind of screwed me there. Not as much in terms of location, but the in terms of location, the calligraphic roundel from India. That one really screwed me up. All right, now that we've got that out of the way, I say let's go ahead then and let's get some let's go ahead and let's finish this game once and for all and see if we can solve the mystery of the root trees. Okay. All right, so let me real quick go on back to here. Oh, whoops. I forgot this was here. Um, all right. And then let me go ahead and launch the game real quick. All right. And then let me go ahead and pause that music and get ready for the jazz of this game. Let me know if it's too loud. All right. So now let's go over to here. All right. And then all right. Yes, here we are. So we are going to continue, and from what I remember, we have to basically figure out which people are possibly Roottrees and which people aren't. All right, and let me see here real quick. Before we get into it, though, hold on. Let's ask. Hold on, let's ask Lewis real quick here. Lewis, do you think we'll be able to solve the mystery of the Roottree fortune today?
I don't know. I just didn't find it that funny.
What? I'm not trying to be funny, man. We're trying to solve a mystery. We're trying to solve a mystery and get this thing locked down. I'm currently attempting to draw a dog, but it looks like handsome Squidward. Oh, that. Why not just make a handsome dog and just give it the handsome Squidward face? Make it seem like that was your point the whole time. That might work. And it's probably, trust me, it's probably a lot better than anything I could draw. Because I can't draw at all, so. The fact that you can get anything that even look like, to even look like handsome Squidward is, I think, is better than anything I could just still do. Still better than anything I can do. All right. Continue. All right. All right. She's a Great Dane, and the other dog looks fine. Oh, well. Great Dane, so maybe try to go for the Scooby-Doo look. Okay. All right, so quick summary for, we got a last time on Dragon Ball Z this real quick. So basically, way back, we had to use genealogy research. If you have never played this or haven't seen this game before, it's basically a genealogy mystery puzzle game where you have to use like actual genealogy research to like basically fill out this big family tree to figure out who gets how the root tree fortune is going to get split up. Then we're currently doing the DLC where we have to basically figure out all these like affairs that were had and other root trees that exist possibly. And we're basically at the point now where what we have to do is we have to look at each person, look at all of their information, and determine whether or not they are an actual root tree. We gotta see what we can get it. And there's also now a new mystery person. Filling in this person is optional. Now it's time to review all possible root trees and input your deductions. You'll be able to end your search and reveal the truth. You have 13 possible Roottrees left to identify. Okay. So yeah, so there are some things here. So okay, and I have a personal theory. And that is that involves Ruby Legal Enterprises. Because the founder of Ruby Legal Enterprises is Ruby Spratt. Ruby Spratt, we know is currently involved with all of the like Roottree stuff, or she's in charge of all the Roottree like financial department with her legal company. But it says here that she was grew up in foster care, and is from Portland. Now, somebody else who also was from Portland and grew up in foster care was David Fellows. David Fellows. Wow, there's a lot of things here. David Fellows is believed to be a Roottree because of the DNA test. But I have a personal theory. I think that he is in cahoots and working with Ruby Spratt to get money from the Roottrees, and that Ruby Spratt is the other Roottree. I think she's secretly a Roottrie and is using her DNA. She's like switching out all the DNA things with her DNA so that way they all come up positive. But that's actually not the case. That's actually not true. They're not all positive. Now, I will admit I am probably going to use a lot of hints for this one because it has been a while. Okay, yeah, Bess Williams. Justly young in a major hurricane that struck the area in 1926. Okay, so, and then with Frank Wildcat, at 1986, the age 74, is listed. Okay, hold on, wait. Retirement community, personal life, grew up as an orphan. His family died in a hurricane when he was very young. Okay, I think he is a Roottrie, personally. Because yeah, this is okay. Yeah, this is the thing with like her lisp, because their grandma had a lisp. Elias, please remember Tham. And then the other one is this one where who's Beth? Because Beth, it's not a TH, it's a S, so Bess. So yeah, no, I think he is a Roottrie. I think he is a Rootree. Okay. And again, I think there's still some clues missing here. He's a police officer. Okay, so let's start looking at him now. Let's see if Stuart Clementine brings up anything. Clementine isn't that popular last name, and you managed to find a Stuart Clementine listed as one of the main names of an emergency services website in New Orleans. It seems as a police officer, he has no web presence. Okay. He's in New Orleans. I don't think we have anything in terms of periodicals. That would be anything here. Magazine about restaurants and kitchens across America. Where else would he possibly even be? Or do we have to look up Mary Beth Clementine? Hold on. Modern Music Monthly? Okay, we did look at this. Oh, wait. Did we not? Hold on, wait. He came to Butler County a few times and played religious hymns at the Miracle Congregation's church. She's mentioned 2 times. The first visit from 1949 was significant, more substantial. Miracle Congregation welcomes Mary Beth with open arms. The article mentions the church leader was moved when he heard Mary Beth's recording of one of his favorite hymns, His Eye is on the Sparrow, and reached out to her personally. His Eye is on the Sparrow holds a very special meaning to me. As you know, I've had a very difficult upbringing, and it's no secret that my own eyes have always been a source of struggle. The song is about overcoming sadness and hardship through Jesus. If God can find a way to watch over every sparrow, he can certainly watch over those made in his image. The family's fortune does me no good as a man of the Lord. It's much better spent spreading his word, and I felt a kinship with Mary Beth ever since I heard her voice. When I learned her personal story, I knew I had to help her in whatever way I could. The Bible is full of adoptions, from Moses to Esther. Spending your life taking care of those helpless to help themselves is incredibly noble. She and her son are welcome to stay in our guest home. Okay, wait. Oh, wait, no, that's not what I meant to... I didn't mean to put that there. Hold on. Here we go. I think that's actually... She and her son are welcome to stay in our guest home. The second visit was a few years later, in 1953. The article mentions that her first visit was a massive success, and the insistence of Miracle's congregation. She's returned for an encore performance. It also mentions that the unusual circumstances of her second son's adoption have prevented her from touring recently, but doesn't clarify. Okay, so I don't think, because Yeah, so she already had her one son. Yeah, so he's not a root tree. But I think Mark is. I think Mark is. Okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure Mark is a root tree because of all this other... Yeah. Apparently she was rather prominent supporter of the concept of adoption. They left a baby on her doorstep in a basket. According to the site, she adopted him without question and raised him as her own son. Oh yeah, Crocodile Clementine. Being from Los Angeles. Oh, that's right, yeah, the Billy Sims incident, right. Bail, paid for by Tosar Jacobson. Showed up because his daughter Mary was graduating that night. Yeah, who is this guy? Hold on. Fuego's Fiesta, a regional Mexican fast food chain, held a competition in 1993 that offered free meals to anyone who legally changed their name to Tostarito. So Tostarito Jacobson used the name Lucinda. Okay, hold on. Is this anything, or is this... I have a feeling this might not be anything. Okay, this is an old thing. Wait. Lucidia Jacobson. Hold on. Why does that name sound... Edith Jacobson? Hold on, wait. Edith and her sister. Okay. Okay, so that's who Lucidia is. I'm just kind of going through all of them right now just to see if there's like anything. Anything with these? Probably not, but we can try. Okay, yeah. This is the... Okay, Crocodile Clementine. What about Miami Herald? Or Miami Mercury? Miami Herald is an actual newspaper. I got it mixed up with an actual one. Telephoto. Yeah, we already got that one. Bail was paid for by Toast. Okay, so that's... Yeah, that would make sense as to why Toaster would that they would pay for his bail. Oh, we found the other ones. Okay. I think he is a Rootree. Right? Because second visit a few later, 1953. The article mentioned that her first was a massive success and insists. Yeah, I think Mark is a Rootree. Okay. There's a few other people here. Let's see. Let's see here. Actually, wait, hold on really quick. Turn it down a little bit. Okay, okay, let's look at the Ford sisters. Okay, according to this, we found everything with them. He was president, right? Do you know why he never released it himself? If I had to guess, his family was very wise to put a stop to it. In mid-1981, months after I had already moved on, he called me back and showed me a final draft. Do you know how expensive it is to publish one copy of a book? It had my name on it in big shiny embossed letters. Like all problems in his life, throwing money at me was his attempt to win me back. But it had half the page count and the narrative was torn to bits. No thanks. Dinner was good. Imported steak that likely cost as much as a month of my mortgage, and we all got pretty drunk. He sent his mistress, Susie something, into the bathroom to proposition me. Poor girl, I remembered her from our trips overseas. She was too good for him anyway. Good for him. Anyways, he died soon after, and that was the last it ever came up. Okay, so I remember her from our trips overseas. So maybe he wasn't having affairs with people overseas because it was just with her. But the family, any site, singles. When he met with someone, I'd figured out who they were and how they were involved, doubly so if the meeting happened when he didn't want me to be around. Despite his best efforts, I got to the whole truth, including things he never knew. For example, the daughter of his business partner in Australia. I think her name was Robin. He and she definitely spent a few nights together and he didn't want his family to know about, but I did. Sam mentions guys' affairs and treats them like most people would logically treat them, like the infidelity was a problem for Patricia when his wife first approached him. Though it wasn't to talk, it was to get my, if you get my meaning. Uh, Patricia enjoyed the company of women, and the swinger scene made that more accessible. I had told her I wasn't interested in her and Guy. I found out later that if I had said yes, her next question would have been whether or not her husband actually had to be there too. Uh, okay. Okay. Yeah, so that's that. The company records. Guy met Susie Ford no longer employed. (1982). She stopped working there in 1982, or is that when he died? Yeah, okay, he died in 1982. Ford no longer employed. On the avalanche of useless information, you almost miraculously discover one useful article. Grandorf Dove was the center of a crime article in 1982. Thomas Hughes, who was coincidentally a former student at the school, apparently the destruction came weeks after he married the school's newest teacher, Mrs. Hughes. She was not a teacher when he went. He graduated a few years earlier. Mr. Hughes was convinced that he was not the father of Mrs. Hughes' current pregnancy. That's right. She's Mrs. Hughes, right? Yeah. Okay, so I think they're both Roottrees, I think. I think they're both Roottrees. Might be a Roottree, but it's impossible to prove. Or it could be that maybe. Hold on, wait. When was that article? Wait a second. When was this article? Crime article from 1982. Okay, the same year that he died. Okay, yeah, it's the same year that he died. Okay, hold on. Flavio. Sonia Alves, Edson Suarez. Susan Ford is mid-office staff. Edward Morrison no longer employed. Corny Schwartz, Beatrice Watts, Lena Lewis, Lisa Lewis, Valerie Earring, Catherine Garrett was hired. William Sams no longer employed by Roottree. Emily works for this department. New Year's Ball, Christmas Spectacular, New Year's Ball. Hold on. There's nothing here about company records 1980 1981. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Sonia Alves is no longer employed by Roottree. Uh, secretaries, farm and manufacturing. I don't know what's here that's like supposed to be helpful in his case. Catherine Garrett, Lisa Lewis. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what they're referring to with that. Turns Miss Apollo is a massive media group owned and run by a mysterious woman named Sonia Alves. She's shortened her name to Nia to stand out in the public eye. According to the history page that focuses on her company and vague search details, many different manufacturing businesses in her hometown in Brazil. At the same time, she had just begun to learn the ins and outs of running a television network. She continued to work in television until 1988. When Brazil began its period of reform, she had this perfect opportunity to launch her own media company with using her investment and connections. Now her company owns television networks, magazines, newspapers, and advertising firms. Does not go into any other relationship history. Searching for Nia online, you learn she stays out of the spotlight. She doesn't even appear at shareholder meetings. She sends a proxy. Okay, hold on. I think. Oh, is it saying that like he didn't travel during that time? Hold on, wait. Because when did he? Uh, category for that 1 year. Okay, 1979 is when they do all the traveling. 1979 is when they do all the traveling. And when is? Hold on, wait. When is that photo? Uh, when is this one from? Is the first from a magazine interview it came from was pulled from the shelves, but you managed to find it online. Okay, this is the one that got pulled. I don't think there's enough here. Well, we still have one more thing. Flavio Suarez. Hold on, how do you spell it? S-O... Suarez. So women, wide range of ages and writing skills. Okay. Including his age, 18. Favorite food, and his mother's name, Sonia. Hold on. Can we look that up in periodicals, maybe? Annie Mercury. Uh... Starlit. Teen Blast. Okay, yeah, this is all the model stuff. Right, we read this already. Uh, Uh, Many times business wants to success as a wealthiest media company in South America. Okay, what about if we search for her, which is Nia? Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Nia Alves owns many forms of media in Brazil under the umbrella of Transmission. Business Watch has mentioned her by name a few times. Most relevant appearance seems to be an article about the struggles of American media companies to do business with their foreign counterparts due to the difference in laws. A few media groups and countries are discussed, including those in Africa and the Middle East. Transmissapalo in Brazil is also discussed. Due to lack of freedom of speech laws in Brazil, there has been added bureaucracy in publishing certain stories on Transmissapalo's channels. Nia is extremely private about her identity and supposedly once used her connections to have a reporter fired from a rival network and blacklisted. A journalist claimed that this was to shut down a story he was doing about her personal life, including that her marriage in 1973 was not of her own choice. His research claimed that she essentially had her husband forced upon her as a child bride at the age of 15. It also claims that past appearances with her husband have been for show. They do not live together, and that she resents her own parents for the arrangement. The final claim was that she must have made her money under the table through nefarious and possibly illegal means during Brazil's dictatorship. As his research uncovered that she could not possibly have earned enough to start a media company otherwise. After making this statement, the reporter went into hiding in fear of his safety. Is that the thing that was missing? I don't think there's enough information, really. I don't think there's enough here to, like, confirm it. There's nothing that's, like, a definitive, like, no. I think it's that, like, he might be, but there's not enough proof. That's honestly how I feel with this. Okay. All right, hold on. So, is this also... This is the same one as the other one. Oh, wait, is this... Is the Chinese word for watermelon. Okay. That's actually interesting. That one continued. Or that is one of them. Okay, Hanging with Han appear on a website called Focus on Philanthropy under the headline Hanging with the Hans. The Hans were chosen because they donate significantly to causes to further Chinese American culture. Jerry and Linda were both born in China and fell in love during college. Linda's father led a large company. This article never names it. After it expanded to the U.S., Linda's father approved their marriage so long as Jerry took over the U.S. portion of the business. Linda jokes that the entire situation is something like out of an Alanis Morissette song with how ironic it all ended up. I was absolutely terrified to move to the United States, but my big sister was desperately in love with the idea. She used to have this Butch Cassidy poster on her wall and was obsessed with Robert Redford. But somehow, Jerry and I were the ones sent here. And now we couldn't possibly imagine going back. When we had Mark, we never even considered giving him a traditional name. Meanwhile, my sister stayed in China and has thrived there. She doesn't even like visiting the US anymore. Oh, oh, that this line right here, I didn't think about that before, but this could be referring to like maybe because of like the affair, she doesn't like the US anymore. Our kids are complete opposites, though. Mark couldn't wait to travel abroad as soon as he was old enough. He's actually in business school in China now, working with my sister. Our niece, who grew up there, was the opposite. She couldn't wait to get here. She started calling herself Lucy Lang in high school and flew out here as soon as she graduated. The name change apparently drove my sister absolutely loco. Uh, from the start, ordered articles was Lang Hongbo and his young daughter Lang Zhao and her husband could not have children, so in an attempt to create a suitable heir, he paid Quinkies to have their child right. But wasn't there like a thing of like yeah, the whistleblower proved that customers paid for a very different service, an alibi. There's still one more thing here. Lucy Lang. Okay, common name. That's right. Okay, yeah, this is. Okay, we still haven't found it yet. Robotics Club. Captain Jayla Patel. Lucy Lang and Kurt. Was canceled for an interview with the school newspaper. Did we search these names? Does that bring up anything? Nothing. Okay. What about team captain? Nope. Okay. Min Lang. Let's try. Let's see. Yeah, we got. Is this one of the things? Yeah, it is. Yeah, but there's still something else that we're missing. Each of their history, including their interest in robotics. The only one that catches your attention is Lucy Lang. She grew up around factory-scale machines that assembled products that would be shipped all over the world, and the moving parts and automation fascinated her. However, as she has progressed through her major, she has become obsessed with smaller, more powerful hydraulics, such as the mechanism that closes Talon Claw's weapon. Collecting accents. Okay. Portland, Oregon. It has to be something related to somebody else. Maybe Mark? Uh... Uh... Where's that picture? Okay, right here. Manufacture packaging for American products. Okay. Honored recent rise of women entrepreneurs in China. Mr. offhandedly mentions that Angelina was an early adopter of IVF and helped her sister have a child. When she took over, has been added to your evidence. Okay, yeah, so that's when we have that. Do we have anything here for periodicals? Just not watchman of the year. There still is something that I haven't found. First of two children. Her father stayed president of Langtime for a long time. His brother. He began to have problems related to dementia, and Zayu, who had already been running things behind the scenes, performed somewhat of a power play. Okay. Any other things with her? There's nothing else. Okay. Telephoto. Okay. Hold on, wait, something I just thought about. For him, it says that he's 18 years old. That means if he's 18 in 1999. He was born 1981. And he had to have... do we know what year this is from? Okay, that's the interview with the Piketty magazine. In 1981. Or is it more the fact that, like, he didn't go there until 1979. Yeah, I don't think he is. Again, but I don't know what this other thing is that could be her. Okay, hold on. Is this the other? No, it's not. Dang it. Mentioned briefly in an article about in vitro fertilization from 1979. That at the time was brand new, barely a year old. After the first successful IVF birth in 1978, it seemed the industry began to grow. In a featured article about different companies all over the world, the cost that would charge for the services was in Business Watch. Apparently, at the time, the CEO of the channel was Long Hama and his young daughter, and her husband could not have children. So, in an attempt to create a suitable heir, he paid to have their child implanted in his older daughter, who was unmarried. Okay, this is the same thing that we already read. Uh. Silver Screen Magazine? No. Starlit? No. Team Blast? No. Telephoto? No. uh, uh, I don't think it's going to be in here, but yeah, it's just going to be Linda Hahn, maybe? Uh, oh, hold on. Here we go. Okay, this is something else. Piece of Asia has its headquarters in Butler County. It is listed occasionally in different contexts. Nothing seems important except this expert from 1981. The newspaper chronicles that Jerry Hahn has traveled from China to open the company, which is connected to a much larger company overseas called Lang Tai and has connections to Roottree. It's not a factory, it simply imports and distributes Lang Tai's products. It also mentions that Jerry is the son-in-law of the current leader of Lang Tai. As someone close to the family who learned English in school, he naturally raised through the ranks and they expanded their reach on America. Though Jerry's wife, Linda, doesn't speak English at all, she is currently taking classes and he is teaching her at home. He says she has always been a fast learner and he hopes that she'll be at least conversational by the time she gives birth. According to the article, this was not the first time they were in Butler. They visited in the late 70s with the rest of the leadership of Lang Tai when trying to court the Roottrees. It seems the first trip wasn't covered by the newspaper. Okay, well, hold on. Let's go back here. Piece of Asia. Okay, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A lot of companies listed there. Maybe this. Wait, no, that's not what I meant to. Accidentally hit the wrong thing. Maybe if we search this name. Uh, Screen Magazine. Team Blast. Telephoto. Does that have to do with Roottreemania? China Roottrees. In the late 70s, China began to go through a period of economic reform. This led to new opportunities for American companies, and the Roottreemania company decided to pounce. Lang Hongbo, who was said to personally win over the Roottrees family and was the owner of multiple textile factories, did not wish to import the ingredients and build a special factory to manufacture the candy in China. So instead, they made a deal to import bulk unpackaged Roottrees candy and label it for not only China but additional markets. Was already in his mid-50s when the deal happened, only had daughters, and his brother took control upon his death in 1986. After Hong died, passed the oldest child to the next generation. Uh, uh, hmm. I might have to use the hint because I don't know what this next thing is. So yeah, so this one's still kind of up in the air for now. But there's still all of this right here. Okay. Hmm. I mean, this one, there's so many things here that I'm missing. Company record. Okay, hold on. Suited guy, very much private parties. Elizabeth was a daughter who Sam never met. Yeah, that's Christine. Elizabeth wasn't aware that the party was for swingers. Rumor has it that her daughter showed up with Guy and didn't seem comfortable switching partners. So they were together. This is saying that they showed up and that they were switching partners. Started towards the Angel restaurants. James and Robert Garland on the cover. Exclusively serves as sharing dishes. Most of the offerings. Samosa cone. Robert, who is 3 years younger than James, jokes. Although the age difference has left him delegated to wear the sous chef jacket his whole life, he doesn't mind. As a result, James answers most of his questions. James credits. My father was a chef, and my mother grew up on a farm that supplied his restaurant. That's how they met. I don't have any memories from the farm or anything like that since we moved here before I could even talk. They told me stories. When we moved, we were together. We were looking to open their own restaurant together. Unfortunately, they never got it off the ground. His line cook gig ended up being less temporary than he hoped, and she had to go back to work as a secretary even after Robert was born. Before we were old enough to go to school, we spent our days with my aunt. In the diner where we worked, my dad had no room for experimenting, so he'd exercise his skills at home on his days off. We'd always go shopping and cook as a family on those days, and even though we were hyper kids running around causing a ruckus, their parents, who are now retired, visit Friday often. Apple pies. Okay, wait, so So she went back to working as a secretary. That's hold on. Because she was there. She was there. Or does it say when they moved? Does it say when they moved? President 1978. Named Elizabeth. Okay, Christine, where's... Yeah, okay, Christine, okay, that's 1976. 1977, it was announced that Zach would be retiring and Guy would be taking over at the start of 1978. Yeah, wait, yeah, hold on. Christine Farrow is no longer listed amongst the secretaries, but a Christine Garland has been hired. So they got married. So I don't think Robert's not a Rootree. Robert can't be a Rootree because He lives in his home kitchen for the last month so he can keep an eye on his son. Yeah, because by 1978, they have one son, and we know that by, what was it, 1977, she's married. In 1978, yeah, she's no longer working there. Yeah, so I think Robert is not a root tree, but James is. Yeah, I think that's where we're at. But there's this one other clue that apparently we don't have. I'm back. Are the root trees still dead? Yes, they are. They are very much. A lot of them are. We're just trying to figure out the mystery right now of trying to figure out who is a root tree and who isn't. Maybe if we Google, or maybe if we search for Christine, maybe we'll find something. Pharaoh. P-A-R... P-H-A... So what? P-H-A-R. Just trying to look up, like, everything. Maybe Mercury... Garland? The puppies from 1978 that asked recently married residents about kind of how they met. Met years ago when she delivered produce. Or her deliveries. By chance. Moved to Boston, open up her own restaurant. If we Google, if we search for her, is it James? Yeah. What's the name of the restaurant that they're in again? Friday. Okay, it's not that. We already did look at this one. But either way, though, I think that this is what it has to be. He has to be. He can't be a root tree, but he could be. Because if I change, hold on, wait. If I change this to, okay, no, it doesn't change. Okay, I feel pretty comfortable with that. I feel pretty comfortable with that. Now, David Fellows. Rootree Rift. Oh, wait, is that how they... Hold on. Is that how they organize all these? Oh, they don't intersperse them. So wait, so is there a piece of evidence that I haven't found yet? Is there something in the evidence that I haven't found? Where's... where is... Where's that photo of them? Oh my god, where did I get that photo of them from? I'm so confused. Where is it? Oh, there. Jesus. Okay, yeah, so there's this. I'm trying to think if there's anything... Okay, no, they're not in alphabetical order. Do any of these... Okay, this one still has a little bit of something here. Jane Doe Rootree. Okay. Nanomom was the second high-profile chase after Felix Fellows of a potential new Rootree being added to the Lancet Trust. Instead of claiming herself a Rootree, however, she claimed she'd slept with Guy Hudson and that her daughter was a Rootree. The accusation came during the height of Roottreemania and began with a brief TV interview. She appeared in the shadows with a disguised voice and promoted an article about herself in News Time. In the TV interview, the article, she referred to her daughter as Jane Doe Rootree. The name Anonymom was not self-inflicted. It seemed to spring up organically because nobody knew what else to refer her as. The day after the Newstime article, Sam Matson publicly supported Anonymom due to some parts of the story she found particularly credible. With momentum from Sam's endorsement, Anonymom went on a media blitz. Ultimately, this backfired. As more details came out, people became skeptical of her story due to the extreme similarity to Five Pez. Her accusation even included many of the same details as his mother's story. This included her job, secretary, and the time period late 70s. After fumbling the Five Pez story so publicly, the Roottrees were more prepared to handle all kinds of stuff like within a week. A DNA test proved that Anonymous' daughter could not be related to the Roottrees. This was announced at a joint press conference with lawyers representing both Anonymous and the Roottrees. Each party ensured their respective clients provided accurate samples. Immediately after the negative results were released, many of those who had already been skeptical felt vindicated. Others, who had built up hope that the history could repeat itself at their Five Pez, felt duped. Many people suspected the whole affair had been a hoax to gain fame and money. Many demanded that Anonymous be held accountable, and some people began to attempt to track her down her true identity. The Ritchie Company felt pressured to put out a second statement to try to cover the backlash, even go far as to say that it was scientifically proven that Jane Doe Rootree is not a Rootree. This does not mean that her mother and Guy Hudson were not involved in an affair. She has every right to make her claim, as it has been verified that her stories about Guy Hudson were not exaggerations. Please leave their family alone. But is this Anonymom, though? Is this Anonymom? Hold on. What if we go... anything in any of these? There we go. An anonymous woman appeared on the cover of Newstime holding a picture of her daughter. First and only mention of the phrase Anonymom in Newstime this and it came this week after winning the issue pod for her first place. Okay. Here we go. Oh, wait a second. Can I... Oh, no, I can't do that. I can't fix it. Thrown to their DNA test that his daughter was not a Rootree. This article came before all that. Right around the time of the first TV interview. Unlike Vipez, she wished to remain anonymous, and both photos were obscured. Someone claimed to have an affair with Guy while she was working as his secretary. She and another woman were hired at the same time during a transition period, while many of the secretaries that worked under Zach Morrison were already gone. She says that she and the other woman were both underqualified, as neither had typewriter experience. According to the other staff members interviewed, Guy had his own requirements for hiring women. Guy Hudson liked to throw lavish parties, and the longer he was president, the more excuses he found. The anonymous woman posits that these parties mostly seemed to be an excuse to have after parties at Guy's home, featuring much more alcohol and other substances. She claims she slept with him at one of these after parties. She confronted Guy when she found out she was pregnant. Guy didn't seem fazed, and they came to an arrangement. He paid her a significant amount of hush money on a recurring basis under the table. She used it to move away and start a new life with her daughter. When Guy died, the money stopped coming, and she assumed things had run their course. She went back to work at the department store and hoped that nobody would ever look too closely at how she paid for her house. She told everyone that her daughter's father walked out one day and never came back. She claimed that after seeing the fantastic article in Newstime, she realized that she wasn't the only one this happened to. While she never worked at the Roottrees company at the same time as Vipez's mother, Joanna, their stories seemed eerily similar, and she knew Felix was telling the truth right away. The article presented no tangible evidence of the anonymous woman's time at Roottrees, and all the payments were alleged made in cash. However, using details she provided in Newstime, the reporters were able to reach out to the other woman hired at the time, who also remained anonymous. They successfully fact-checked the timeline of both women and confirmed the existence of the infamous after-parties. This case was strengthened, and this new story was subsequently published. Okay. So this person was not at the same time as Joanne. So it would have to be two people. No longer working, were hired, no longer. So it's either Beatrice Watts, Courtney Schwartz, Lisa Lewis, or Valerie Ewing. Beatrice Watts. A few articles with local news stations in Pennsylvania. Some of the people attempting to track down Anonymom were harassing her. She recently had to take leave of absence because people showed up at the car dealership where she works. She's begging people to stop the accusations so that she can get back to a normal life. In every article you find, the journalists involved have independently verified that she is not Anonymom. Okay. So it's not her. Is it Lisa Lewis? Okay, it's not Lisa Lewis. Is it Valerie? Okay, it could be Lisa Lewis. Times signature. News time. Okay, we're probably not going to get any of these other ones. Okay, let's try Valerie. Because it has to be them, because it was after this one took place, yeah, in between these two. Was not hired at the same time as Joanna. So I think it is. So there has to be something. Portland Telegraph, Silver Screen, Starlit, Team Blast, Telephoto. No. What about if I look up? What if I look up Ruby Spratt? Hold on. Is that how you? Oh, it's 1B. Whoops. Not Ruby. Ruby. And 2 T's. Yeah. Let's just try all of these. To see if maybe... we already saw this one. Water. There's some Toynes. Grew up in foster care. And was a Girl Scout who was apparently at Vancouver River School and was a Girl Scout who, at the time of the article, was earning her Gold Award. Part of Project Help Community. Ruby Foster Fountain. Foster Fountain. Alumni of the foster care system. Fountain is Joss Coins. We participate each penny, so each penny becomes $1. Okay. Nothing there. Okay, hold on. Ruby Sprat. Okay, briefly covered a lawsuit between Ruby Sprat and Picting Magazine surrounding Cecily Sanchez. They said that Cecily didn't have the rights to redistribute the photos in the magazine of Guy Hudson. Apparently announced that it would be pulling their issue the day following the moment that Ruby Legal Enterprises threatened them. This caused the issue to sell faster. It was unlikely that Ruby could have had the story pulled if it had gone to court, but she likely got more eyes on it than if the Roottrees had just ignored the story. Okay, nothing there. Oh, hold on. Ruby Sprat graduated top of her class of Mid-Eastern's legal college. Her valedictorian speech was somewhat controversial at the time, as it was quite serious, with a heavy focus on wealth inequality. This didn't go over well with the predominantly middle to upper class audience in attendance. The editor of the Herald at the time said Ruby, unsatisfied by simply earning her place at Mid-Eastern with a full scholarship, went on to earn a captive audience of her peers with a perfect GPA. It felt like the ideal occasion for a celebration of an undoubtedly incredible individual. However, by the end of her speech, there were many in the audience that wished that neither of those events had transpired. It was a passionate attempt to use her soapbox to proselytize her fellow students and their parents into the religion of poverty, but unfortunately, judging by the silence, they remain unconverted. Okay, so she doesn't like rich people. Well, the fountains of youth was a thing. Okay, yeah, there's the Herald. Yeah, Okay, hold on. I think we already... Yeah, we already saw this. Ruby Legal is now in charge of many financial aspects of the company, including verifying any claims to the trust and organizing the various charitable causes, such as scholarships that have been set up in the name of the deceased. Put her in charge of the trust. Trial run. Seems that Ruby actually approached the Roottrees sometime in late March. After the Roottree Rift, but well before Roottreemania. She offered to work for very little money so long as she could be a public face to build her reputation. Okay, yeah, no, she does not... Hold on. Right, Clark is the one who took over. Okay, there is one more. Is that how it is? Fellows? Yeah, David Fellows. Well, because he has David, and then it's Felix. So he also goes by Felix. He also goes by Felix. Okay, we already... His birthday, February 9th, 1977. A letter to the other claims that it's not possible that he was born in 1987, as he claimed in the song called 17 Magazine that he turned 17 in 1992. The other responds with a statement that they've reached out to his agent to ask about the song and where it, and were told it wasn't performed by Five Pez and they shouldn't print rumors. Hold on, wait. 17 magazines. Davy. Uh, States it was written on Davy's 17th birthday. Uh, Wait, yeah, I don't think he is a Rootree. Because if he was 17 in 1992, that means that yeah, she was hired in 1976, 1977. Oh wait, yeah, what was the thing? 117 in 1992. But it is him though. Davy is him. So if Davy is him, so yeah, so wait, I don't think he's a Rootree. And because of all the stuff with Ruby, I think Ruby's like helping him, maybe either like unbeknownst to him or like on purpose. Okay, either way. Team Blast. Uh, yeah. Uh, Market Herald. Nope. Nope. And then 5. Is that how? No. How does he spell it again? 5 P's. Okay, that is what it is. Okay, hold on. Oh, no. Didn't mean to click out of that. Modern Music Monthly. News Time. Okay, yeah, we already saw that. Okay, yeah. Let's see. I'm not a mom. Let's look up her, maybe. Okay. Okay, hold on. Peteke is not afraid to expose details that the other publications would avoid. Shortly after the announcement that Jane Doe Rootree was not a Rootree, Peteke exposed personal details about the story of Anonymum under the headline Anonymum the Anonicon. It said that Anonymum worked as a manager of a department store in North Carolina, and her daughter's name was Courtney May. They also said the woman that vouched for her famous cover story, they didn't identify news time, perhaps to avoid being sued, is named Corrine S., and that she had filed for bankruptcy. The article speculates that Anonymum and Corrine were in on it together, and even speculates that they might have been lovers. Peteke does not credible publication. Their information wasn't particularly actionable. Very few people seemed to notice or care. Huh. Oh, wait. Corey. Daughter's name is Courtney May. Corrine S. Hold on. Who is. Uh. Okay, hold on. It would have to be. Okay, Corrine. Okay, Corrine Schwartz was the one though that was like, don't, like, stop. Yeah, stop bothering me. So that means that it's. If it is her, it's Beatrice Watts. And then, well, then her daughter would be Courtney May. Whoops. Courtney May. Courtney May. There we go. Got it. Courtney May has a simple website with black text on a white background and a few images. From the view counter, you can tell you're not one of only a few hundred people who has visited it. She's not shy about claiming she is Jane Doe Rootree. As proof, she has posted an unobscured cover from the time she was featured on News Time, as well as a different picture of herself that appears to be a wedding photo. The website seems to be created in defense of her mother, who has been the target of public scrutiny. On the headline, The True Story of Jane Doe Rootree, courtesy of Courtney May Newton, formerly Watts. Okay. Courtney May writes, everyone has everything wrong. My mom approached the Roottrees before Five Pez was ever on the cover of News Time. Nobody at the Roottree company took us seriously. They only listened to us after we appeared on TV and in magazines. The site has a scanned letter from the legal group to Courtney May Mothers, Beatrice. In very polite legal terms, it seems to accuse her of exploiting their name and orders her to leave the Rootrees alone. It's dated from a few weeks before the Five Pez article appeared in News Time, and it seems legitimate. Courtney May also discussed her mother's magazine feature in more detail. Do you know how difficult it was to convince anyone to tell our story? My mom didn't want to show her face because everyone in the media we approached assumed she was lying because her story was just like five pieces. But my mom's story was first. Mom was advised by Ryan and Cork to tell News Time that seeing Five Pez on the cover was what inspired her to go public. That's the only way News Time would agree to it and to help her get on TV, but it's not true. Our story was first. Courtney's defense continues, but much of it seems repetitive and useless. Towards the end of her page, she discusses the DNA test and defends her mother's character. My mom is amazing. She's the nicest woman in the world. She has diabetes and works at a department store, but still managed to help pay for my apartment in the big city so that I could stay with my high school sweetheart. I got a degree in nursing, so I learned about DNA in college. but I'm beginning to think it's all a lie. My mom is 100% confident that there's nobody else who could be the father. Either they did the test wrong, or DNA is complete BS. She is not a liar. Okay, I got a degree in nursing. Does that mean she's a nurse? Okay, hold on. Let's look here and see what these other things are. Also, hold on. Are these... Okay, Courtney May Watts. Let's look at these real quick. Okay, there we go. There's the photo. Okay. Courtney May Watts posted this photo on her website to prove her identity. It appears to be a wedding photo of hers. So is she a nurse or an EMT? Okay, either way, this has to be them. This is her. This is her. This is her. This is him. So Watts. Okay, hold on. I need to highlight some stuff here because this is Courtney May Watts. Okay. Okay. So no, yeah, her name is. Okay, so her new name is Newton. So her husband is. And then she says down here, yeah. I got a degree in nursing. So Beatrice. So that's Beatrice Watts. So Beatrice Watts. And she's currently is manager an option? Is retail an option? Retail. Because that's what it says, right? It says that, like... Okay, and there's still the letter. We haven't read the letter yet. So, and we also know that her name is Courtney May. And we know his last name is Newton. But we don't know is okay, nurse is an option. Okay. Okay. There's all that, and then I think Okay, I think oh wait, is there still that letter? Or is it not we don't actually have the letter. It's just Okay, hold on. Okay, we found a lot more of everything else here. Hold on. Okay, let's look. Courtney May Watts. I mean, Mercury, Harold. Okay, now let's change it to her new married name. Hmm. Yeah, no, I don't think he's a Rootree. And I think she is a Rootree. Courtney May. But if we Google Courtney May Newton, is that we're just gonna get this website again. How are we gonna May's mother, Beatrice? So, but Beatrice Watts doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't bring up anything. Does it say anything? Hold on the picture, on the wedding photo, is there anything? Where's the wedding photo? Oh, there it is. Just married. Is she a nurse or is she an EMT? Nurse, news anchor, musician. Because that's an ambulance that's in that photo. Yeah, it's an ambulance. Yeah, there's still one other clue that I haven't found yet for these people. Let's see. I think I might have to go with the hint. Even though I feel like I got it. Well, I mean, I still don't know his name. I just know his... And it says I have 3 possible Roottrees. Who are the other... Hold on. where are the other... Okay, so hold on, wait. If I just put... Whoa, wait a second. I didn't even see that up there. Whoa, I didn't even realize this was an option. Whoa, that's a whole... I didn't even see that up there. Oh my god, okay, so there's so much I haven't looked up. Oh my god, there are so many things. Oh, there are so many things. Okay, wow. Okay, so there's a lot more now that I have to look at. Okay, hold on. This is... Oof. Okay. Are they both the same? Okay, they're both the same clues. Died in Paris, France about 3 weeks ago. Ron Rootree? Do I have to look up Ron Rootree again? Announced President Rootree during the Rootree Rift. For this next press, say that Ron and Clark would take over. A few weeks later, Ron was dropped from the title entirely. There are hundreds of results about this development. Some of your entire speculation based on an article about Ron in Business Watch. Ron also has done some interviews saying the truth of what went on behind the scenes is not something he wishes to discuss. Instead, he hopes to release a movie about it someday. Okay, what about Robbie? Okay, but there is a... was released from French prison after serving a few years for assault. His embezzlement and arrest were partially featured in 6 pieces, as Robbie's participation in the Clanted Trust was a key piece of evidence in Sam's favor, and have since become much more publicly infamous. He has not yet returned to the United States, but when journalists reached out to him after the death of his mother, he had issued a blanket statement a few days ago. The death of my mother was hard on our family. My brother and I, after spending time together caring for her in mourning, have finally made amends. It was a highly transformative few weeks. When it came out to our relationship, I'm in recovery from my addiction, and a major aspect of that process is that I wish to stay private. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even see that. Okay, hold on. So, Business Watch. Hold on. Ron Rootree. Business Watch ran an article about 2 months after the Rootree Rift about what really happened with Rootree. The article mentions that nobody from Rootree that they reached out to was willing to go on record. Instead, the timeline of events has been constructed from public record, accidental leaks, and a source on the inside. The only parts that are new to you are also the most vague parts, the ones supposedly confirmed by their anonymous source. The timeline says that the family actually held a preliminary vote after Carl Rootree died, but before the release of 6 pieces, and decided they wanted Ron Rootree to take over because of his experience running RR Productions and because he was a well-known and well-respected Rootree. But Ron seemed way too eager and personally motivated. They were worried he would gut the Clanted Trust to remove Robbie Rootree. Family was notoriously unwilling to do anything that could risk their wealth. They stalled, and Ron became frustrated with the delay. When 6 pieces came out, he saw his chance to force action while the family was in the limelight and released the press release himself in an attempt to get the ball rolling faster. This caused chaos within the family. They tried to save face by allowing Ron to take over as co-president with Clark, but according to Business Watch's source, Ron was impossible to deal with. He seemed like he was unwilling to protect the Clanted Trust. and they eventually let him go. After that, the role passed solely to Clark, who nobody was excited about, but seemed to be like the safest choice. Jesus. Okay. Uh. Hmm. Okay. What about anything in these other ones? Okay, nothing new here. Okay, let's try Robbie. But how would it be possible for them to not be... How would it be possible for them to not be Roottrees, though? Because their mother was a Roottree, unless one of them is adopted? One of them has to be adopted, then. That's like the only way that makes sense. For their mother to be a so that means also then that none of them are Roottrees. Hold on. Okay, so there's nothing else here. Robbie Roottree. Hold on. Sam's favor, not the United States. Go back to Ron. Okay, that's the same one that we already saw. Is Roottree Rift going anywhere with this? I don't think so. I think I might need to start using the hints. Mentions a lot of interesting information in her defense. She did mention a group. Wait, who did she mention? Site has a scanned letter from Root Legal Group. There's magazine feature in what? Ryan and Cork. There we go. The unremarkable law firm based in North Carolina, named after its senior partners, Winston Ryan and Gregory Cork. The firm mostly handles local cases and recently represented Anonymom. Their website has a section about the case, including a scan of the DNA test results that prove Jane Doe Roottrie was not a Roottrie. I mean, I'm assuming we don't actually have to know about alleged parental aunt. Bonnie Kellogg. Bonnie Kellogg. Oh, no, wait, okay. This is a DNA test you got from the website for the law firm Ryan and Cork. The test says there was virtually no chance that Anonym's daughter, Courtney May, was at Roottrees. It lists that DNA from Jane Doe was tested against the DNA of Bonnie Kellogg Nee Hudson, Guy's twin sister. Ryan and Cork, who were representing Anonymous, have confirmed that the sample they sent to the Roottrees was definitely Courtney May's hair. The test was from a company called DNA Tico, and doctor has circled the results and signed the paper. Okay, hold on. As a DNA testing company, DNA testing is a relatively new phenomenon that allows scientific laboratories to prove a possible family relationship between two people. It's fairly cutting edge. The method by which they test samples has only become standard in the last decade. According to their site, was responsible for the DNA test that proved Felix Fellows was a Roottrie, and even use it as an example of how a DNA test looks. They use it to provide some information about their process. Whenever they take a sample in a person, they put the name of the person on the test according to their legal ID, which is why it says David instead of Felix. Because Guy Hudson is dead, there is no known DNA source for Guy. They tested Felix's hair versus a hair sample sent from the Roottrees. It's listed as Jane Doe because it wasn't collected in person, but the Roottree company let them know it was from Bonnie Kellogg. This is why it is a parental aunt test. The left and right sets of numbers are essentially signatures that perfectly match the DNA of the two people in question and nobody else. The way the test works is that certain parts of the signature are shared, and it's very likely two people are related. As far as you can tell, DNA Tico is a legitimate company. They don't seem to have any reason to create fake results or hide the truth. Okay, and there's also the doctor down there. And this is his DNA result. I think they got the DNA result or test like mixed up. Because why is this one alleged parental aunt Jane Doe? Wait, hold on, wait. 310130. Yeah, these are different. Or is that just the test number? Okay, that's just the test number. Oh, wait, hold on, wait. 141278, blah, blah, blah. These are different. Yeah, these are different. These numbers in this column for Jane Doe, even though they claim... Don't they claim... The DNA test you obtained on the website. According to the website, the famous test proves that they received permission to post as an example potential clients, who was listed as Jane Doe. Okay. Hold on, wait. Listed as Jane Doe because it wasn't collected in person, but the Roottrie company let them know it was from Bonnie Kellogg, Guy Hudson's sister. Okay. Yeah, no. They... Okay, yeah, no, this is... Yeah, this is, I think, definitely not the case. I think they got things mixed up. Is it the same doctor on both of them? Adrian Rowland. Adrian Rowland. That's how you spell it, right? Adrian, Rowland. Okay, nothing here. But if we go here... Maybe Mercury, or Music Monthly, News Time. Okay, he's not bringing up anything. In a deco. Probably Business Watch, maybe? News Time? No. Okay, nothing else there. Okay, hold on. Okay, so we got that. Then there's also, yeah, Ryan and Court. Winston Ryan. I mean, they call it unremarkable, but... Gregory Cork. Okay, nothing. Hold on. Let's just check all the periodicals really quick. Let's see. Gregory... no. Okay, and then the other one is from Winston Ryan. So I don't think there's going to be anything, honestly, with these, from the looks of it. No, nothing. Jesus. Okay. Where... let's see. Looks like you got... Okay, hold on. Goes by another name. Wait, it did? Did it say that it goes by another name? Oh, the Fountain of Use? It would be in the probably the Pittsburgh one, right? Or Portland. It's about the dedication ceremony for the local Portland landmark called the Fountain of Youth. Apparently, at the unveiling of the fountain, the mayor of Portland made a speech and there were performances by multiple local entertainers as well as a ribbon cutting from the people most instrumental in bringing the fountain to fruition. The article calls out that all the performers and speakers, with the exception of the mayor, were foster care alumni, and most of them grew up together as close friends. This includes poets, musicians, and dancers. Dirty Davy was listed on the musicians. Okay. Okay, there we go. There's still all of... Apparently there's all of this still, though. Go back here. Right, this is when Clark's gotten married again. No Roottrees has ever remarried. Sure, I lost Jacob. And Gwen divorced Wild Bill just before she had her second. Just before she had her second. The way the world is moving, I guess it was inevitable that she would remarry. Maybe if I research Wild Bill again? I don't know if that would help really anywhere, but we'll see. Okay, hold on. Guys like us. Two secretaries cut their hair short and pose as businessmen to get ahead in life until one of them falls in love with their client and hilarity ensues, starring Gwen Roottrees, Leslie Florence, and Harrison Lane. It was fairly popular at the box office and made its budget back, but it was seen as somewhat formulaic, so it didn't really stand the test of time compared to other classic films in the era. It was recently released for the first time on home video due to Roottreemania. The time it took to manufacture and ship VHS copies of Guys Like Us meant that it missed the height of the craze, which only lasted a few weeks. Even so, it did sell modestly well, and there have even been talks of a remake. Okay, Harrison Lane. Okay, yeah. Hold on. Harrison Lane. Oh, no, so it meant. Okay, doesn't seem to go anywhere. Updated Guys Like Us. Leslie Florence. Leslie Florence was the other actress besides Gwen Roottrees in Guys Like Us. For Guys Like Us, she was in a very small supporting roles, and her performance in Guys Like Us was generally thought to be quite good, especially considering she got second billing to Gwen. Even with the success and acclaim, she retired from Hollywood almost immediately after her co-starring role. Not much was known about her until recently, when Guys Like Us was re-released right at the tail end of Roottreemania. Recently, as part of the myriad of articles and research people have done into the surrounding the Roottrees, it came out that she died of a genetic disease known as Huntington's in the late 1960s. We look up Leslie Florence. Any of these? I'm just going everywhere at this point. Okay. Leslie Florence. It said that she was... What was the older version? Co-starring role. Huntington's is a neurodegenerative disease that is mostly recognizably causes memory issues and uncontrollable movements in the limbs. After symptom onset, somewhere between age 30 and 50, those affected by Huntington's typically lived another 15 to 18 years after their symptoms worsen. There is no cure. Huntington's is passed genetically from parent to child. The gene that causes Huntington's works in such a way that if a parent has the disease, there is a 50-50 chance that their child will get it. Huntington's cannot be passed on recessively, meaning it cannot skip a generation. In other words, if someone has a mother or father with Huntington's, but they themselves did not receive it from that parent, their children and their grandchildren and so on will also never have it. Symptoms causes memory issues and uncontrollable movements in the limbs. Was there something... Was there something with... Was there something with him and, like, him being... Hold on, wait. Robbie Roottrees for assault. Partially featured in 6... Oh, yeah, that's right. He's, like... That's, like, a whole thing with, like, R.R. Roottrees, right? Oh, wait, yeah, isn't it, like, R.R.? What was it? It wasn't R.R. Roottrees. It was, like... Noble Roottrees. Okay, not Red Roottrees. That was a red herring. There was something about, like... Hold on, there was something with the... Cancer Trust... with Root, after released 6 pieces by Sam Manson, the Cancer Trust came under heavy scrutiny. Sam and her children and her grandchildren have all been covered under the trust, according to wording revealed. After an internal family conflict between Ron and Robbie Roottrees. Purposely deceived the rest of the family with the exact details of how it worked, in an attempt to keep Sam and her father in comparative poverty. Hand over fist. Sam. Book revealed to the public. It did not go over well. Clark Rafferty LaRoe took over the company, and his most celebrated move was the first official one. He ensured Sam's family would get their share. To facilitate this, the inheritance by Ruby Legal, potential new Roottrees. Blood relative. Yeah, Roottrees versus RR. That's what it was. Uh, First, the person in question was born out of wedlock, and second, they committed a significant crime against a fellow family member. That's right, born out of wedlock. Okay, so I think he's not a root tree, and he is a root tree, honestly. But let's look at some hints real quick and see if we're right. The cookbooks seem pretty central to the Garland affair. What about the other? What was the other one? Hold on, wait. What was the other one? Uh, uh, okay, hold on. Cooking classes. After Garland saw Kitchen Tales? Well, that's the other one. What? Renamed to Garnishing the Truth. Did I never search that book? Really? Kitchen Tales was a story based on a recipe book created by Mark Zimmer that had some success after it was featured on a morning talk show. The book released before the internet was widespread, so mentions are rare. One book collector states the publishers were unprepared for the demand, and that there was no second printing, so it's unusual to find a copy in the wild. You find an alternative medicine website that focuses on cooking with natural ingredients. It mentions that one of Kitchen Tales' recipes uses salt water. The owner of the site has included a scan of the recipe, which you've added to your evidence. It says if you switch out the salt water in the recipe for a mix of 2/3 spring water and 1/3 filtered seawater, it tastes great. Okay. Palated loaf. Was this the other thing that I needed? Kitchen Tales is a book that combines recipes and stories at a mild popularity, but seemed to disappear on a scan of one story. For years, two bakers, Flora and Yates, flirted. They grew their friendship, compared recipes, and combined knowledge. She loved his salt and peppered beard. He adored her rosemary cheeks. They thought sweetly about one another, but he was one day whisked away, conscripted to bake the army's bread. By the oil of the lamp, Flour's tears began to salt her bread. The recipe asks the reader to combine flour, yeast, sugar, olive oil, and rosemary, combine and the mixture to the whisk dough. It was 10 to 12 years later that they met again, seemingly by fate. Flora's unique dough had earned her a position as the king's personal baker. Yates had found success as well. He baked for the kingdom's 45 diplomats. One day they returned from the Dutch Isles with a gift, 450 unbaked loaves, and they were sent to the palace bakery to teach a method that requires no kneading. God, this... If I had a cookbook like this, I would be so mad. I would just be like, just get to the point. Allow the dough to proof for 10-12 hours, then spread it out and let it sit for 45 minutes on a floured baking sheet with no kneading. Prepare for Dutch oven. Okay. Upon seeing Yates, Flora was both delighted and distraught. She felt as if she was torn in two. She had not been made aware of the gift and had already prepared buns for the palace ovens. She wished to greet Yates warmly, but was struck by fear that he'd be unable to bake with her. That she'd face retribution for being unprepared. She cried to Yates, adding more salt to her dough, cut the dough in two. Yates eased her pain. He insisted she had no obligation to prepare for a return she thought impossible, but he shared her fear of retribution. He knew if they did not solve her predicament, they'd miss their final chance to bake together. In the end, instead of wallowing in the present, they worked together to shape the future. They twisted and entwined their doughs and baked them as one. Thus was born a plaintive loaf. Word quickly spread of this new delight. The king's decree on royal parchment was that it would be considered a delicacy. Bankrolled by the king, Flora and Yates spent their days baking together. They traveled for 45 years and settled down for 15 more. Golden golden, no regrets. Okay. I guess it's supposed to be just some sort of like version of the store. I don't know. Okay. Apparently that's what we needed. I think that doesn't change my thing that I have right here. My personal theories. The only thing again I don't have is his name. And apparently I found everything associated with her. Again, there's nothing on the... There's nothing on the actual wedding picture. Oh my god, Danny. Jesus Christ. I'm an idiot. Of course it says it right there on the thing. So, Daniel. There we go. Okay, so we got that. Okay, then what's the hint? Probably for Lynn. Business article about time mentioned another company. Did it? Hold on. Langtai. Okay, the article details of a new, at the time, medical industry. Brand new, barely a year old. Is it this? Is it the... As mentioned in an article you already read about Langtai, but then again, 1994, there's a long article that spells out a huge controversy. Okay, yeah, I already know about that. Oh, that's what it was? It was already... Yeah. That they would... I already know that. Will sometimes claim that they performed right when they did not. This would often use an excuse to otherwise unexplainable press meet. They'd fly their clients to America, where they would stay for an extended period of time, and then return to China with news of a successful IVF pregnancy. Apparently presented to the Department of Health and Human Services with credible evidence. At the time of the article, it was still an ongoing investigation. And they couldn't imagine a world in which the company would be allowed to continue operations without facing serious legal and financial consequences. Okay. Yeah, so I think, yeah, she was not done with IVF. Okay, yeah, now it's just all this stuff, which I still need to find. Oh, that's right. Walter... Walter... How do you spell his name? Forsyth. Wild Bill Williams, an actor known for his role in Fortune Favors the Grave, not making an appearance at Gwen Roottrees' funeral. Because of his absence, there were rumors online he must have already died, but according to a reporter that tracked him down, he's in his 70s, still lives in Paris, and is still in perfectly fine health. He even went on record as saying, "I think it was Mark Twain who said the rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. That seems appropriate today." The few years I spent with Gwen were just one stop along a very long, complicated journey that has been my life and career. The last time we spoke was when I signed the divorce papers. She asked me to never to contact her or her kids again. I've always respected those wishes. They never reached out to me either, even as adults, so I have to assume they had some idea of why she hated me so much. and the sacrifices she made on my behalf. I wish them well and am sorry for their loss, but we've all been strangers for 40 years, so I can confidently say they wouldn't have wanted me to be there. In fact, I'm confident my presence would have ruined it. Not since I signed the divorce papers. Okay, that's just the same thing. Okay. Okay. Let's get another hint. Into their spouses. Penelope Tessa Green. Okay, comedian Penelope Tessa Green was part of the recent fundraiser at the Reno Country Club, the Laugh Lounge, about a month ago. The fundraiser is called The Best Medicine and was to help find a cure for Huntington's disease. According to the website, she released a statement. Up until recently, I didn't know anything about Huntington's. In the last few months, I've gone from knowing nothing about it to learning more than any one person should ever have to. Until less than a decade ago, it was impossible to predict if someone susceptible to Huntington's had the disease, but due to advances in medicine, tests have been developed. Hopefully, this increased awareness is the first step into finding a cure. Please join me in a night of comedy for a good cause. Okay. But which one of them... Okay, now I don't know which one of them has it then. Because that makes it sound like that that Ron has it. Because if Ron has it, then that means he's not... Okay, RR Productions. This is in development other than Guys Like Us remake. Guys Like Us remake has been discussed a few times on a website about upcoming films called Movie News. The rumored cast is Cameron Diaz, Linda Foriento, and Chris O'Donnell. According to leaked news, the remake has been put on indefinite hiatus due to its director, who is speculated to be Ron Roottrees, dropping out in the wake of a serious medical issue, but that's only a rumor. Okay, no, so he has it. He has it. Okay, so no, so I got it wrong. He's a Roottrees. He's not a Roottrees. Unless they both have it. Periodicals. Okay, hold on. Well, Bill Williams. let's see. Oh, found all the smoking guns. Oh, sweet, we got it. Okay, so that's everything. Well, it was mentioned many times throughout his lifespan. Most of his stories gossip. 3 specific patches. First role in his real name. Second interview. Though he doesn't mention her by name, you determine context talking about Gwyn Roottrees. Apology to all the ladies. I'm actually taken. Earlier this year, I did a friend a favor. He was directing a war movie and asked me to play a small part. Wouldn't you know it? The son of a bitch cut me from the picture. I'm just ribbing. It wasn't his fault. Apparently, the studio didn't want to play for a star of my caliber. I got the last laugh, though. I met someone. She spent most of the film crying. She was playing a soldier's wife, but even through the tears, she was incredible. I know I tend to have a reputation, but this one's true love. I only have eyes for her. Ironically, the third is a rumor that his divorce from Gwyn was due to multiple affairs, including one with another actress. An American reader on vacation in Paris claims to have overheard Wild Bill and Gwyn arguing in public while she was holding a baby and visibly pregnant. Not long after, Gwyn announced she was divorcing Wild Bill and also that she was pregnant again, giving this rumor more credibility. Could this part where Gwyn was due to multiple affairs, including one with... Could this be referring to Gwyn and not Bill in that case? Okay, I think this is it. I feel pretty confident with this. I think we've done everything. I'm just curious if there's even... Yep. That's it. Okay. Whew. I think we got it. All right. I think we got it. So let's look into it and see if we got everything right, because I think this is it. All right. Confirm. Okay, but first... Did I not get it right? Did I do it? I did. Oh, thank God.
Beatrice and Courtney May. Clark, can you swing another test against Bonnie's DNA?
This time I'll be sure to have them verify both samples in person.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust Ruby. 1 week later. Okay. Hello, Sam.
Using the family tree you filled out, as well as DNA tests, we were able to uncover the truth behind all the inconsistencies.
Oh boy, are we gonna get a long monologue now?
Clark's handling the business, but I've come to thank you and fill you in on everything we've learned. Buckle up, because it's been one heck of a week.
I can imagine.
Actually, that's an understatement. It's not every week you discover your family company is being sabotaged by someone they trusted.
Yep.
But that's the kind of time we've been having. Like I said, buckle up. Maybe grab some popcorn.
Oh, I love popcorn.
We'll start with Guy Hudson.
All right.
Guy had a frankly ridiculous number of potential children. What shocked me is how many graduated from potential to confirmed.
Yeah. Okay, so these ones are all confirmed.
We can even prove he was aware of them.
So he
the
was...
smoking gun was how he used company money to pay off a lot of women. He hid it with a method inspired by his idol, Elias. 5-piece flavors. The flavors he was paying to research were a ruse.
Oh, that's what those were. Those were the payments to the... Oh, wow. I didn't...
He developed flavors based on the initials of the women he was paying. Which was really stupid, considering one of their names started with X.
That's what that was. I didn't catch that at all. Butterscotch, Beatrice, Chris... Wow.
Let's start with Christine. Guy was paying
Okay.
her under the name Caviar, but there were some other clues. James was born 9 months after Zach's party.
Yeah.
Christine was there with Guy, and when she got pregnant, she panicked.
Yep.
Steve stepped up. He even turned it into one of his recipe stories.
Okay, yep.
Not all of Guy's affairs led to offspring. He may have slept with Robin Martin.
I don't even
but she didn't
remember.
have
Oh, wait, that's
children,
right.
So we'll never know.
That's right. Yeah, I remember
Also,
looking up Robin.
not every child of Guy's affair partners were his. Robert Garland was born after his parents had already moved to Boston.
Yeah. Okay, so I was right.
Skipping Beatrice for now. Up next is Lang Xin-yu. When Guy showed up in China, she was into America. And Americans. Dare I say redheads, even?
Oh,
When
Butch
she got
Cassidy and
pregnant,
Robert Redford.
Her father paid key genes to fake IVF.
Yeah.
They claimed her sister was unable to conceive. But her sister and Jerry had their own son,
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, so she was.
Sonia Alves was soon after. Nia was married at a very young age to a much older husband.
So he was.
She resented him. I don't blame her. They allegedly spent no time together in private. Guy was in Brazil during Christmas 1979. It's the only Christmas not in the records. Flavio was born
Oh.
9 months later, and like the others, Guy started paying Sonia.
Okay, so he was confirmed. Okay, so
Last
that one I was
Susan
wrong.
Ford, hired to translate for Guy's overseas trips. It's easy to read into Guy's donation to her school, but there's no definitive proof there. She and Guy were witnessed together near the end of his life. Susan's husband was convinced he couldn't be the father of her daughters. Guy, though, paid double. The price of twins.
Oh. So they were.
So,
Okay.
what
Wow,
about
I did not
5
catch the.
keys? Felix Fellow's mother, Joanna, doesn't have a 5 pieces flavor. On top of that, his story doesn't really add up.
Yeah. Okay. So wow, I did not catch the whole thing with the flavors being representative of like the payments, paying off the people for the children. I didn't catch that at all. Wow.
His mother already left the company by the
I guess I
time
was just
Guy
lucky.
became president, and his lyrics indicate he was born sometime around 1975.
Yep, exactly.
Alone, that wouldn't necessarily prove it. But there are some suspicious connections between Felix and the company's
Yep.
current lawyer.
Yep.
They both grew up in Portland, in foster care, and according to the local paper, they definitely knew one another.
Yep.
Ruby was the one who approached the Roottrees to begin with. It was all a setup. Ruby and Felix saw my book's challenge to the Clancet Trust as an opportunity.
Yep.
His mother really had worked for Roottree, and Ruby was a respected lawyer. She exploited my family's greed, worked her way into control of the trust, and ensured Felix got a piece. But
Yep.
they made
Okay.
some mistakes.
I
along
was
the
right
way.
in catching that.
If you look at the 2 DNA tests that Ruby handled,
Yep.
they were both supposedly tested against Bonnie Hudson.
Yeah, but they're different.
But the 2 signatures that should both represent Bonnie don't match. After Clark and I confronted her, Ruby lawyered up. Ironic, I know.
I feel like she wouldn't need
We
to. She
suspect
is.
Ruby had Donatico test Felix against his own mother's DNA. He had a hairbrush of hers. They sent the female sample in remotely.
Oh.
On the second test, Bonnie's sample was tested locally, but Courtney May's was not. Ruby's been throwing away samples. We think she sent her own hair instead of Courtney May's, but it could have been anyone's. Ruby and
Right.
Felix were in cahoots. As for why, they were both advocates of wealth redistribution.
Yep. Yep.
A noble effort. But once they controlled the family fortune, They became just as greedy as the worst members of my family. The money corrupted them. They were so eager to personally wield the wealth for their own cause that they sabotaged any other claims.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's not.
That finally brings us to Anonymom, aka
Yep.
Beatrice Watts. Her tales of guys' parties and payoffs were true. She even approached Ruby before 5Ps was on news time.
Yep.
Ruby used Beatrice's truths to make Felix's lies feel real, then ruined the DNA test so that Beatrice looked phony.
That's why
in the
That's why
public
the
court
stories
of
were so
opinion.
similar.
I feel worst for her in all of this.
Okay. So yeah, she is confirmed.
While Ruby and Felix stole the show, there were some other potential new family members as well.
Yep.
Miracle Roottree was less of an open and shut case. That said, it's very likely he had a son with Mary Beth Clementine.
Yeah.
Not Stuart. Mary Beth adopted him before she ever set foot in Butler County. That leaves Mark.
Yep.
The timeline fits. He showed up about 9 months after Mary Beth visited Miracle.
Yep.
And the basket baby story is a bit too convenient.
Yep.
If that's not enough on its own. He was also bailed out by the sister of Edith Roottree,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Miracle Jr.'s wife, after she changed her name to win that silly contest.
Yep. Okay. That
Our
explains
best
that. I
guess
was
is
right
Mark
with that.
was told by his mother whose son he was, and used that fact to put some pressure on Miracle Jr. We have no real proof of that, but nothing else really makes sense for why they'd be connected in that way.
Yeah. So he's not. Yep. I got that right.
Elias's affair was the most ambiguous.
Yeah.
Gwyneth was able to coerce Elias to do things he wouldn't have otherwise done, like pressure to include me in the family. My son even mentioned them arguing about someone named Beth.
But that's not her name.
Combined with Gwyneth's lisp, it's possible the name was actually Bess.
Yep. Yep.
Unfortunately, all we know about Bess Williams is that she wrote his book and died not long after, leaving her only son an orphan. The
Yeah,
timeline
it's a
fits
little-
with Wildcat, but there's no record if she had any other relationship. Honestly, I wouldn't say we had enough evidence.
Oh, so is
either
this
way.
one? This
I
one's
wouldn't be
unsure.
surprised if Elias cheated. Of course, I'm a bit biased. Regardless, we haven't gotten in touch with any of the Williams clan yet. That
So you gotta
means we
do
haven't been
DNA.
able to do a DNA test. As Clark mentioned, from here on out, all of our DNA tests will be in person for both parties.
Okay, so this one was unsure. Okay. That one I got wrong.
Lastly, we have a bit of a curveball. Ron Roottree isn't related to us by blood.
Yep.
Gwyn was definitely pregnant, so it's likely Robbie is.
Yes.
When Ron and Robbie went to visit their mother at the end of her life, something changed. Additionally, there have been a few rumors circling around Ron. RR Productions canceled the Guys
Yeah.
Like Us remake due to the director's illness. At
Yep.
the same time, Ron's wife Penelope began doing benefits for Huntington's disease, stating that she had become familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
Huntington's is the same disease that Gwyn's former co-star Leslie Florence had. It's passed from parent to child. It can't skip a generation. Because Gwyn and Wild Bill didn't have Huntington's, and Ron seems to, it's impossible Gwyn
Exactly.
was his mother. I recently confirmed all this with Ron.
That is crazy to
At
learn
the
at
end
that
of
age.
her life, Gwyn told Ron the story. Leslie and Bill had an affair the same year Leslie learned she had Huntington's. Leslie got pregnant.
Right.
Leslie wasn't likely to survive to see her child grow up. And even if she did, she didn't want to be a burden. She begged Gwyn and Wild Bill to adopt her child.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what it's referring to. That was the affair
Gwen
with
did.
Wild Bill.
Mere weeks after she found out she was having her own son, she also took in Ron. Wild Bill was a problem. Unreliable and a serial adulterer. Gwyn divorced him and never
Mhm.
saw him again. Gwyn had already told Starlet she was pregnant, so it never really made waves when people saw her with a child in Paris.
Yeah.
There was gossip during her divorce when she was discovered to be pregnant again. In actuality, it was the final months of her only pregnancy.
Right.
To lay low, she stayed in Paris long enough that even her own family never had reason to question the timeline. It's one heck of a story, and frankly, nobody could be expected to piece the timeline together.
Yeah,
Not
please
with
don't.
what few mentions of Gwyn's past have survived. But the Huntingtons itself? That's proof.
Exactly. That's enough right there. All right, sweet. Got that right.
Ron suing Robbie to remove him from the Clancid Trust was a huge moment in my story, and a major catalyst for this entire investigation.
Right, yeah.
Finding out that it's been pretty much backwards this whole time has been a bit surreal. So that's where we're at. Looking over the information you sent us was very helpful.
Glad I could help.
We pretty much came to most of the same conclusions. But it took us an entire team of lawyers.
Yeah, I'm just one guy with a computer
All this
and 1990s internet.
This entire story. It's a lot, in more ways than one. Some of it has the potential to destroy marriages and ruin relationships.
Yeah,
We're handling it all
that's what genealogy
very
does
carefully,
sometimes,
but we
unfortunately.
couldn't have gotten
It is the
here
dark side of
without you.
genealogy.
And with that, I guess our tale has finally, truly come to an end. What a strange one it was.
Very strange. One of the strangest family trees I think I've ever seen.
No words can express how grateful I am to you for untangling this mess. Honestly, I've had enough of my family's eccentricities and scandals for one lifetime. I imagine you have as well.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good.
And if not, well, there's always Elias's and Gwyneth's brothers and sisters.
Oh boy. Oh wow. Oh wow. All right. That's it. We did it. Wow. Can't believe we actually did it. That was really, I really love this game. I mean, it gets a little I will admit it gets a little tedious during the end, because if you miss like one little thing, which I mean that's kind of how these puzzle games are. If you miss one little thing, you know, you just gotta move on to like the you just gotta like go back and basically use the hints. I needed the hints, honestly. Like if it wasn't for the hints, I probably wouldn't have been able to do this, or it would have taken me way longer. Because there were so many like tiny things that like I didn't even think about. But yeah, no, this was really fun, and it's such a unique premise for like a puzzle game, and it works so well. I hope they make more. Maybe not necessarily with like the Roottrees, but like with maybe make like other families or other, you know, or maybe like they said, like the siblings, you know, they could do another game. But yeah, no, this is really good. I really enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun with this one. All right. Let me see here. I don't know how long these credits are, but I can hold the on in the game to see detailed credits for each song. Oh, okay. These are all the different translations. Oh wow, there's different cast and men. Wow, they did all these other languages too. Lucas Pope, dedicated. Original game credits. Hey, look at that. No generative AI artwork. Alright. That's always great to see. All characters appearing in this work are fictitious. Any resemblance to real persons living or dead is purely coincidental. I mean, yeah, I think they have to put that in this case, considering some of the stuff that they say. Alright. Ew, do I just have to listen to the song now in, like, darkness? Okay, there we go. All right. So yeah, that's it, folks. We did it. We solved the mystery. Only needed some hints at the end there, but we did a lot of it on our own, which I'm pretty proud of, actually. Um, all right. But with that though, it is late. Let's go ahead and head back to the. Oh, whoops! I forgot this was still here. The story of me accidentally breaking a plate. All right, hold on. Let me make myself big. All right, but yeah, no, it's late. I need to get to bed, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and just end the stream here. Um, but yeah, if you are new here, I'm not a professor, but you can call me Nap. I do these streams every Wednesday and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And next stream will officially be on Sunday, where we will be doing a presentation stream. With a presentation stream based on other things that I have found in my research over the years. So think things like that I've researched like last year related to like patent searching and stuff like that. Basically, just like showing people who haven't been here for a while the news stories or the stories that we've done in the past. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna call it here. Have a good day or night wherever you guys are, everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here and for watching me play this game. I really enjoyed it, and I really hope they make more. All right, that's it for me. Have a good night, everybody. Take care. I'll see you for sure on Sunday, and maybe at another point this weekend. Who knows? All